Hey, what's going on, guys? The Horror Man back with the next review of the Terror in the Aisles challenge. This time, Jason and I watched The Fury. What a culture can't assimilate, it destroys. The Fury is a 1978 horror film directed by Brian De Palma, and a very memorable scene from it is featured in Terror in the Aisles. That scene is, of course, the indoor amusement park scene, and a lot of people ask about that one online. It's another scene about which people ask, what movie is that from? Kirk Douglas plays a former CIA agent named Peter Sansa. His son Robin was born with a gift: telepathic abilities. Because of this, Robin is the target of a kidnapping plot, hatched by Peter's friend and colleague, Ben Childress. The plan goes successfully, and Robin is taken in the Middle East. A year later, now in Chicago, Peter is still searching for his son, convinced he is still alive, despite being pronounced dead. His suspicions are confirmed when Ben and other agents are now making attempts on his own life. They obviously want Peter dead to protect the whereabouts of his son. Robin is now a government experiment, and they're testing his limits. Meanwhile, Peter seeks help from another gifted teen who has been telepathically linked with Robin somehow. Together, they attempt to find him before it's too late. Robin's captors are quickly losing control of him, and he's quickly losing control of the Fury. The Fury has always very much reminded me of David Cronenberg's Scanners, which Jason and I already reviewed during this challenge. With that being said, The Fury came first, 3 years earlier. The late Kirk Douglas was awesome as Peter Sansa. John Cassavetes is great at playing a prick. Amy Irving, who we'll soon be seeing in De Palma's Carrie as Sue Snell, plays the gifted teen Gillian in The Fury. There are some awesome locations in the film, including that indoor amusement park mentioned earlier, that of course being the scene featured in Terror in the Aisles. I remember going to an indoor amusement park just like that as a kid, so that scene has always been sort of nostalgic for me. There is also a really cool mall location in The Fury. Along with Scanners, I think The Fury also has a lot in common with Stephen King's Firestarter, another one reviewed during the Terror in the Aisles challenge. I guess it's the whole wanting to experiment on people with telepathic abilities. Robin, with his gift, eventually becomes angrier and angrier. And believe me, you wouldn't like him when he's mad. Things get very messy when that happens. There's a kill scene towards the end of the film, which I don't want to spoil, but let's just say it's very bloody and it'll have you spinning. The amusement park ride is not the only thing in this movie that goes around and around and around. At one point, The Fury was pretty tough to find on any format. After calling local stores for months looking for a copy of the DVD, a store about an hour and a half away from me finally got one in. And yes, I'm not ashamed to say I made the drive. Of course, later on I found my VHS copy of The Fury, but finding it on disc was not easy for a while. If you're a fan of Brian De Palma's other films, chances are you'll love this one. Speaking of De Palma, this is the 4th out of 5 films directed by him featured in Terror in the Aisles that Jason and I have now watched and reviewed. You already know what the 5th and final film coming up is, because I already mentioned it: Carrie. Which brings me to my relatable recommendation for The Fury: The Rage, Carrie 2. This was originally going to be my relatable recommendation for Carrie, since it's sort of obvious. But now I'll use something else for that one. The Rage, Carrie 2, is the 1999 sequel to Carrie. And honestly, The Fury is basically the male counterpart to Carrie. But since the original is part of this challenge, I can't recommend that one. We'll be watching it and reviewing it soon. It's interesting that De Palma directed both of them, Carrie and then The Fury. This sequel to Carrie does not get a lot of love, but I definitely think it deserves some praise. It's a fun sequel. It's very much a product of its time, but I guess so is The Fury. I also like the similarities with the titles, The Rage and The Fury. Have you seen it? If so, what do you think of it? Comment below and let me know. And please be sure to check out Jason's review. We're destroying this list, and we'll be back with another review for the Terror in the Aisles challenge soon. Until then, thanks for watching, guys. Hit that thumbs up and, be kind, subscribe.